Today on Shredding Spree, it's party time. Things were starting to get a little stuffy around here. So myself and the other executives here at Shredding Spree, decided to mix things up and get a little weird. But what does that even mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. It's new bike day. Okay, that's sort of false advertising. I'm still riding the same Stumpjumper Evo as my primary bike. The fact that it's behind me on the wall is kind of a dead giveaway. But what I have done is made a few major changes to this ride that have completely altered its personality. It now corners quicker, accelerates quicker, and feels more playful overall. By now, you might have guessed what I'm getting at here. My Stumpjumper Evo is now a mullet. Since I started hearing about mixed wheel size bikes a few years ago, I've been mullet curious. I've always thought of my riding style as playful in that I'm always looking for shroups, rocks, bumps, and gaps to boost off of on my trail rides. So the mullet trend really got my attention when I started hearing more about people putting a smaller back wheel on their bike to make it feel more nimble. Flash forward to November 2020 when I'm doing research for my next bike, and I learned that Specialized actually sells a mullet link for their Stumpjumper Evo. I know that there are aftermarket brands out there that are making mullet links for various bikes and can even increase the travel on certain platforms, but to me there was something a little bit more reassuring about buying a mullet link from the actual people that designed this bike. And the one that Specialized sells is supposed to keep the geometry numbers exactly the same. So yeah, I bought the Specialized mullet link, but I didn't stop there. Obviously, I'm gonna need a smaller back wheel to finish off this mullet build. Now, on the topic of wheels, I'm well aware that my stock wheel set that came with this comp build falls well within the budget-friendly category, but consequently falls outside of the lightweight category. I've always heard a lot about the benefits of unsprung weight and lower rotational mass, and I've always been curious about doing that too. So I figured, while I'm at it with this mullet build, why not get my first set of carbon hoops and see what all the fuss is about. At roughly this same time, I saw Worldwide Cyclery's video about Berd Spokes. You know, they're those spokes that look like little ropes when they're not under tension. I watched that video and they basically had me sold. Not only am I gonna get a carbon rim, but I'm gonna get these Berd Spokes as well to save even more weight. At about the same time, Berd started selling their own self-built wheel sets with a 30mm internal width all-mountain rim. So I called Berd directly. I told them about the channel, linked a few of my videos, and they agreed to send me out a wheel set to try. All I had to do was pay them 1,900 bucks. Yeah, I bought them. What'd you think? Nobody cares about Shredding Spree. We got like 500 subs. You guys are awesome though. Anyway, I probably am gonna have to make a separate video just highlighting the qualities of this wheel set because they are so unique, and they are freakishly light. Combined with the front and rear, this wheel set is 435 grams lighter than my stock wheel set. That's almost an entire pound of weight savings in just the wheels. Crazy. Moving on, so now I've bought the linkage to accept the smaller wheel, then I bought a freakishly light wheel set, which I think will amplify that nimble feeling I'm looking for. But I didn't even stop there. I ordered a set of Michelin tires I had never tried before. Not only had I never tried them before, I don't even know anybody that's tried them before. I've never even seen them in person. But in my motocross racing days, I used to run Michelin Starcross tires, and I was obsessed with them. They would last forever and the grip was amazing. Ever since I saw that Michelin started making mountain bike tires, I've wanted to give them a shot. So I ordered them up online and they're mine now. So I've got all my parts and here's the finished product. Before, after, before, after. Before, after. Now, between these three factors, I've gone so deep into the unknown that it's gonna take much analyzing to figure out the differences in ride quality, but also which components are contributing to those feelings. So we gotta get this thing out on the trail and just see what happens. All right, I actually have more good news. I mulleted this bike months ago and I've got 37 hours of ride time on them, and I can give you my full ride report right now. First things first, this bike corners sharper. When I first started riding mountain bikes with 29-inch wheels, I would take my natural line into a turn, but actually end up running a bit wider than I intended. This resulted in my front wheel going off the end of the single track several times, which means crash. But this mullet bike is way more willing to hold the inside line on a turn. So much so that sometimes when I've been leaning into a corner, I've had to check up a little bit, otherwise I was gonna hit the inside of the bench cut on the trail. On that same note, I've noticed that the bike changes direction faster. Basically, I feel like I can knife into turns quicker than I could before. It's like I can just point the front wheel and the rear is quicker to follow it, like I've got a shorter caboose. I would credit this feeling with both the smaller back wheel and also the much lighter wheel set. Now, still in that same vein, I've also noticed that the rear end gets a little bit looser. And I would mostly attribute this to the hard terrain Michelin tire I put on the back. When I ordered that rear tire, I read the description on Michelin's website and I sort of thought that that was the tire for me. I wanted something that was quick rolling, but still pretty grippy. Kind of like the Eliminator that came off of the bike. But what I actually got was more of an XC style enduro tire. The knobbies were small to begin with and they disappeared fast. So now after 270 miles, that rear is basically smoked and I've replaced it with Michelin's Wild Enduro all mountain tire. That one looks quite a bit beefier, so hopefully it keeps the rear end tracking a little better and lasts longer. Another quality that I'm enjoying with this Berd mullet build is quickness. Those first few pedal strokes out of a low speed turn seem to lurch the bike forward more quickly than before. I'm also going up some of the steep climbs in my local system in a heavier cog than I used to. Somehow that lower cadence just feels fine now. I don't really feel like I'm any more fit than I've been in the last year, so I think the lighter wheel set might be helping me get up the hill. So the cornering and the quickness are my two favorite qualities that I'm feeling with this new build. For the sake of keeping this video as quick as possible, I'm just gonna hammer through a bunch of questions that I think you might have about it. Does it jump better? Yeah, kind of. It's a little easier to move around in the air and perhaps a little bit poppier off the small stuff. Do you feel a little more rollover resistance on the climbs and varied terrain? Nah, not really. I feel like putting the much lighter wheel set on the bike sort of counteracted the negative effect that a smaller back wheel would cause on a climb. Is the bike more playful? Yeah, if you characterize playfulness with being quicker and easier to maneuver. Is it faster? It's hard to say. On some trails where tighter maneuvering is more necessary, it's probably a little bit faster than it would be if I just had the 29er wheels on it. I've beat or matched many of my fast times on my local trails in the dog days of summer when conditions are slick and dusty. But I'm not out there doing back-to-back time trials to test all this, so I wouldn't really say it's definitively faster or slower. The ride qualities that I'm picking out with this analysis are minute little moments within the trail ride. However, some of those minute moments do inspire me to ride a certain way. If the bike is easier to whip around, I'm gonna whip it around a little more. Do you ever still buzz your ass on the back wheel? I think I've done it once, so definitely less than the 29er wheel. Is it easier to manual or wheelie? Nah, feels about the same.
Gosh, you suck.
When you put the mullet link on this bike, it drops the angle of the triangle a little bit, so you keep the same bottom bracket height, same seat tube angle, same head tube angle, same reach, same everything. So it's basically the same bike with a smaller back wheel. So do you have any complaints? No, I haven't really encountered any negative side effects. In the end, I don't think I would tell anybody that mulleting a Stumpjumper Evo is a necessity in improving the ride quality. I'd say that in my case, with the Berd wheel set plus the mixed wheel size, I noticed a vast difference in ride quality, for the better. But if I were to just throw the mullet link on this bike with a comparable 27.5 alloy back wheel, I'm not convinced that the changes I would notice would be any more notable than the geometry adjustments you could make with this bike. So is it really necessary to mullet a modern mountain bike? I don't know. It depends a lot on the rider. And a lot of times, whatever feeling it is that you're chasing, you'll magically find it because you start looking for it with every upgrade you make. In my case, I feel like the lightweight wheel set made a bigger difference than the mixed wheel size. But I can't prove that until somebody gives me a heavy back wheel and I can run my stock wheels again, which I don't plan on doing. But don't take my word for it. Upgrade your bike all you want. The most important thing is have fun riding your bike. And if you think this will make you have more fun, then go for it.